The views, opinions and pages shared by YouWealth Revolution and guests are not intended or implied to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis or treatment.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you for tuning in and connecting today. We've got an incredible guest. We have Nidhu Kapoor, who was just described by one of our listeners as a wondrous Wonder Woman, and she truly is an energy dynamo. And the big question today is, would you like to accelerate your life and have manifestations take place at the speed of thought, even 1-minute miracles? And with what Nidhu's discovered, there are a number of secret cosmic portals that are opening up this year, and they're going to have effects going into the coming decade. And if we understand how to navigate these, and that's what we're going to be laying for you, how to do it during this call, you can accelerate your life. You can move forward into a very beautiful and blessed place. Or if we don't, we may have the same struggles. We may have a lot of things that we don't necessarily want to have come in our life. And I'm sure if you're anything like me, you're going to choose the fastest path to move forward. And we're also going to be taking live callers, because one of the things about 2023 and beyond is there's a big dichotomy for a lot of people. Some people are having big challenges, and we want to help them instantaneously begin to shift that energy. And as I shared earlier, if you really think about it, it probably makes the most sense to shift things at the quantum level incrementally right now in this very second. There's no reason to wait. You don't have to wait a month for something to change or a year. You can change it right now at the speed of light, at the speed of sound. And to help us do that, we have our amazing guest, Nidhu Kapoor, and we're going to be talking about the energetics of what is going on and why it's so important to utilize these powerful portals. Now, our guest today is a moon worker. She's an expert on the cosmic energy currents. She's also a pain exterminator, a clearing expert, a retrograde specialist. Nidhu B. Kapoor is the owner and chair of the world's fastest healing modality, the Decrees. It is a new language of 5D manifestation where things take place at the speed of thought and word. And this is instantaneously. Now, we've had some crazy and wild and wonderful, beautiful, blessed things happen, all good. From cats to dogs to money to plants to plantar fasciitis to PCOD, gout, IBS, relationships with mother, father, boss, friend, sister, brother, mother-in-law, peers, colleagues, studies, focus, delays, opportunities, clairgifts, insomnia, weight release, unworthiness, cravings, pain, stress, negatives, fever, headaches, chronic projects, weakness, computer glitches, phone issues, electrical outages, entities. These decrees can be used on anything and anyone, everyone, and everything, anytime, anywhere, even in your dreams. Now, she is a life scientist decoding universal energies of our time, and one of the things that has come forward is the energetics of 2023, which we're going to be talking about. Now, we're going to blend this together with this technology to create some rapid shift portals. So if you've been struggling with something in your life for a very long time, or maybe a situation that doesn't seem to change, you are going to have a huge opportunity in this coming time. So get ready and bring it to the call. Now, her middle name is Speedster, with thousands of people around the world who can vouch for her and her work. So we're going to do some life-changing, mind-blowing, heart-opening, vibrational energy work using just one single set of words. And we're going to show you how to do that. Now, one person said, I am financially manifesting. She said, I listened to the call replay last night. I had a very good sleep. When I woke up, I received money from the wine agent for the wine sales during Christmas. And she says, I get what I want. You can increase now. Another person said, after listening to Nidhu's work, I had 3 new inquiries the next day. It was really nice to have them because for quite a long time, I was not getting anything and was very stressed. Another person, I want to share something that happened. The amount I paid for the package I actually got back from a client booking and animal communication within the exact same amount. Within hours, the money got credited. Another person said, I was extremely stressed and worried about a financial issue. I've been doing Nidhu's work, and now I feel confident that it will all be taken care of. We have people with life upgrades too. One person said, it just took a minute, but I am feeling the energy, feeling more energized. Everything is achievable. Another person wrote in and said, I have literally shifted this using a decree that has opened up a new energy for me. She said, I had something happen at work, made me feel very low. I decided to use the decrees, and I got my power back instantly. So without further ado, we're going to talk about what's happening and how to use some incremental energies right now. Nidhu, welcome back to YouWealth Revolution.
Thank you, Darius. It is awesome to be back. I always feel very at home here, like we're all old friends catching up on what's going on and what's the latest and what's the energy like and what can we do to upgrade it for ourselves. And I love the way you put it, which is to take the fastest path forward, to accelerate wherever we are. If we are stuck, let's let go of that. If we're already moving ahead, let's speed that up. So thank you so much, Darius. I'm delighted to be back.
I am so happy to have you. And one of the things that it seems to be a theme this season, and it's coming through, I guess, as a cosmic current, is that suffering is really becoming optional in the sense that we don't need suffering for awakening, transformation, ascension. What would you say about that? Because I know you're a speedster, and I know you have a lot of understanding of the cosmic energies as well.
So what you're saying is very valid. The validity is the choice that we have an option. We don't have to stay in the same story. And in fact, one of the things that we're going to be talking about is what's coming up very quickly as a portal, which is going to reveal to us how we are stuck and suffering and struggling without realizing that we are still saying the same story. Suffering is optional. At the same time, some amount of suffering we will all have to go through because, it's part of the human experience. Night and day, winter, summer, happiness, sorrow, the agony and the ecstasy both take place. But a good life, a extraordinary life is when we have more of the good, when we have more of the ecstasy and lesser of the challenges. And when the challenges come, that it not be looked at as a suffering, but actually as a challenge, which is I can learn something, I can become stronger. I'm sure everybody's heard of that particular story, right, about the butterfly wanting to come out of the cocoon. And this person saw the butterfly struggling and didn't want it to struggle. So he started parting the cocoon. And the butterfly came out with only one wing working. Our struggles do make us stronger, provided we look at them as challenges and opportunities. So the choice to not struggle is the choice to look at the struggle very differently, and as well as to realize that there is a gift. There is always the light at the end of the tunnel, and only in the darkness do seeds germinate. So when we're going through the dark night of the soul, which is never one night, it's many nights over many years, we can very easily think, oh my fate is to suffer, or my destiny is to suffer, or my karma is to suffer, which is not true, because your karma, our karma, is really to learn and unlearn a old action that is not serving us anymore. How to bring in this newness is how we're going to leave the control fear-based paradigms of 3D and move into 5D. And here I want to very quickly bring in that every modality works. The decrease power is the power of speed. The speed is the speed of thought. It's the speed of light. There's nothing faster. So when you've got something to take care of, as in learn or unlearn or relearn or remember, the decrees will help you get there fastest. Like we will take the scenic expressway. So we will enjoy the surroundings. At the same time, we're going to be getting to our goals at rapid speed. At what you're going to know is an exaflop speed. But more about that as we go on.
I love that. And yeah, it's interesting when you said dark night of the soul, it is true. Like, we're going to have those, but the saying is not dark decades of the soul or, dark 50 years of the soul. So there's a season and then there is a renewal. And I know a lot of people are ready for the renewal, and that's where we're going to go. Now, for people maybe not familiar with your work, Nidhu, how did you start to open up to really understanding language, speed, and maybe the incremental quantum energy shifts that are happening with the decrees? How did all of this open up for you?
Well, they were given to me. Like, I remember that November where this thought flashed through my mind. And the moment it flashed through my mind, my entire body started reacting. Like, something started moving instantly. And I was like, wait, what was that? And it was just 4 words. And I repeated those 4 words. And the moment I repeated those 4 words, another set of reactions began to take place. And as I asked the question, and the question with an intent for answer, because sometimes we can ask a question which is a judgment, which is, why me? Why only me? Why is this happening? But not be interested in an answer. So when I asked, what is this? What's going on? The gate just opened, and what it was meant for, and what we were supposed to do with it, and how it was supposed to be used, and how it was supposed to be used for chronic projects, how it was supposed to be used for not chronic projects, how it's supposed to be part of your daily work. Like Darius, you read out an entire list of things, right? The decrees are meant for anything, anytime, anyone, everyone.
Yes.
Whatever it is, you can use the decrees, whether we're doing it in order to make sure that we get a good rate, whether it's to manifest a house, whether it's to make sure that our geyser is working, whatever it is, whether it is to find lost cats, whether it is to take care of IBS and gout, you can use the decrees. And how you use the decrees is just really by saying them. When you say a decree, something begins immediately. In fact, I'm just going to quickly give you a 3-word decree, and I'm just going to say it twice. So you're going to see the speed of light, and you're going to see how quickly you are responding to it. And you can say it with me. I'm just going to say it twice, and it's just 3 words. I begin smiling. I begin smiling. Say it, and you will see. I begin
smiling.
Fine. I went on to another one, and that's the thing with decrees, you can adapt it to anything. I begin smiling. And you can probably hear it in my voice because my cheeks are like completely spread apart right now. I begin smiling. I begin
smile.
Spine. And immediately your spine will react. I begin healing. I begin healing. I begin having a better day.
Having a better day.
And check. You will have something move. Your shoulders would adjust. Your breathing might have gotten better. You're definitely smiling. I begin smiling. I begin giggling. I begin laughing. I begin releasing suffering. I begin releasing traumas. I begin releasing abuse. I begin releasing the past, because all healing is a healing of the past. All stuckness is a stuckness from the past.
Wow. I I feel those. I wasn't saying it because I wasn't sure what you were going to say next, so I was kind of waiting. But I could feel the energy just as you were repeating that or going through some of those decrees. And you're right. It started changing. My shoulders went back. I sat up straighter. I started to smile. Nishi says, oh my gosh, all my organs are smiling. Wow. Yeah. Heather says, I started laughing out loud, Darius, when you said there are no dark years of the soul. Good to have a little humor. Well, I'm going to say what is very interesting is I started feeling shifts. I know people are going to write in and start to feel more and more of this as we go through. You've discovered there's some interesting things happening, and it has to do with this year and the effects of this year and something called chasing the light. What is chasing the light, Nidhu? What does that mean?
Chasing the light, Darius, is the opposite of chasing the pain. And chasing the pain is the standard way that we've all been working, even if we didn't know the terminology.
Okay.
All of that, you see, pain, well, it's painful. And whatever it is that we're going through mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, spiritually, sexually, socially, all of it, that stuckness becomes painful. And then it becomes this great desire to get rid of that pain. And so we start chasing more pain. However,
Yes.
here's the beauty about being a human being and being alive. You see, on a day that we feel good and light, the day not only goes good and light automatically, but even if something bad happens, it doesn't feel so bad. If something shows up, we're able to take care of it, and vice versa. When we feel touchy and irritable, when we are already stressed out and struggling, the day also automatically goes like that. And then if something good happens, we don't register it. Like begets like. And that's the law of attraction in 3 words. Like begets like.
Yeah.
Stress begets stress. Suffering begets suffering. Negativity begets negativity. Positivity begets positivity. And in fact, so I have like a set of quotes that I always fall back on. You know, one is Michael Jordan, who said, I fail all the time, that's why I succeed. But there is a new age parenting mentor called Rebecca Enos, who said that an extraordinary life is built one beautiful ordinary day at a time. The key word is beautiful. So as long as we can keep switching to the lightness, brightness, rightness, gladness, and beauty, our day will as well. And the more beautiful our days, the more beautiful our lives. The more light our days, the lightful more our lives. And the decrees are a language of light, because the decrees work with your superconscious while
Write that
working
down.
with your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. The superconscious is the part of you that is going to take you to ascension. The superconscious is the part of you that is 100% gold, 100% light. So when the decrees access that treasure trove, you do feel better. And because they work like an arrow straight to the mark, you start feeling better immediately. Like Darius said, my shoulders went back, my spine straightened back. I could feel the shifts happening. That's your superconscious taking over. That's your superconscious adjusting you to more light. So chasing the light is when you have something happening, but you know exactly what to do with it to bring yourself back to the light, bring yourself back to the beauty, and therefore switch your day and therefore switch your life.
That's amazing. I love what you just shared about the superconscious, because I believe this is our highest self. This is our highest connection to our soul in many respects. And so as we start connecting to that, like you said, chasing the light, we continue to go higher and higher. And this is what is creating these 1-minute shifts and these rapid transformations in people. One of the things that you've also mentioned is that we've got a lot of very interesting cosmic events, almost kind of like portals or accelerators, and they can accelerate us like going upward toward what we want, or maybe accelerate us going downward to what we don't want. What is going on with this year? Why is this maybe the perfect time to utilize some of these new energetic decrees and discoveries of yours?
You're absolutely correct, Darius, including the fact that our higher self is really our biggest connection to source, to the universe.
Yeah.
You could call it our soul. And therefore, that 100% goal, that 100% light is always available to us. We just need to know how to tap into it. And this year, 2023, is the year of the number 7, the year of Neptune, the year of water, the year of psychic powers, the year of vision, the year of intuition, the year of emotions, but also the year of spirituality. And you will notice that by the time January finished, you would have had a desire to seek something deeper, seek something more meaningful. Like there's more to life than this pain and struggle. What is it? I want to find that purposefulness. I want to have that sense of joy when I get up in the morning. And that comes when you work with your higher self. The retrograde time. I'm going to backtrack for a moment and quickly tell you what a retrograde is. And that retrograde is the cosmic portal, the celestial event that will bring us to our greatest, grandest days and lives. And a retrograde means regressing or going backwards. And when it comes to planets, it is an optical illusion in the way that we think a plane is stationary in the sky when we're in the moving car, or we feel like we're moving when we're in a stationary train, and the train right next to us starts moving. That exact same phenomena happens between planets in our solar system. So they aren't really moving backward, but the optical illusion is enough to impact our reality just the way it seems totally real when the other train starts moving. There are always entry and exit dates to a retrograde, and all planets retrograde. The entry-exit dates are also accompanied by a preparatory period. So, for example, Mercury, and we will get to why Mercury is the one we've chosen for our call and this year. But Mercury is going to go retrograde on April 21st. However, in the preparatory period for his retrograde, by 7th of April, we will start experiencing some of his effects. And these are delays, communication mishaps, computer crashes, WhatsApp crashes, misunderstandings, emotional volatility, energy levels can shift. All of this happens with every planet retrograde, but Mercury retrograde is by far the most intense. The kind of chaos, mayhem, disruptions, and mishaps that Mercury brings, no other planet brings. And Mercury can go retrograde 3 to 4 times in a year. In fact, 2023 began with a Mercury retrograde, and 2023 will end with a Mercury retrograde. Some of us, in fact, a couple of people on my home group were mentioning how they were feeling exhausted, how things were not going their way, how they just wanted to do nothing, how all of these are signs that a portal is opening, because all retrogrades are times of great personal power and force. And like the collective consciousness, is the sum total of our personal consciousness, like life is the sum total of our beauty days. Like that, the collective consciousness is impacted by what happens to each one of us in a retrograde time. In Mercury retrograde, the thing is, it affects our head and central nervous system, because that's what Mercury rules. And the head, which has our brain then does not function the way that it normally functions. Like you could have been doing everything fine, and then suddenly you feel like you just don't care about it anymore. You feel like it's taking too long, because in Mercury retrograde, we get impatient because there are so many delays. We want to indulge in quick, rich schemes. We want to indulge in quick, rich love schemes. There is a collapse that happens, and the brain is the organ of ascension, because ascension is the evolution of consciousness, right? You move from the unconscious to the subconscious to the conscious to the superconscious. It is an evolution of awareness, and awareness in Mercury retrograde tends to collapse. There is a reason for that, but first let me tell you that April, August, December, these are the times of Mercury retrograde showing up. And therefore, these are the times we want to be prepared for. We never want to study for an exam on the day of the exam. We want to know what's happening so that we can be more equipped and we can deal with the challenges better. Because in a Mercury retrograde, the planet's energy is what impacts us the most. And Mercury is the youngest, most youthful, childlike planet. All children enjoy slapstick comedy. All children, all of us have laughed at Laurel and Hardy movies. All children like to giggle and chortle at somebody else's expense. And in a Mercury retrograde, when things happen, really he's playing a prank on us. However, all retrogrades take us to the next level of our evolution, because all retrogrades trigger us. All retrogrades reveal to us where we are in our ascension journey, and no planet is as trigger happy as Mercury is. Where we are, how we are progressing, what are the challenges, what are the obstacles, Mercury retrograde reveals it all the most clearly, because as a planet retrogrades, we regress. And because Mercury is about the child, we regress to being child and childlike ourselves. Clearly, when the child energy takes over, this is not a time for us to be signing important documents. It is not a time for us to be making life-changing decisions like moving house, moving to a new job, or even entering a new relationship. It's like Nav. So Nav wanted to get married, and it was the dates, wanted to get engaged before he wanted to get married, and the dates were in Mercury retrograde. And I very gently spoke to the family and I said, if you can wait for a month, just wait for a month. The family didn't listen, because that is also how Mercury retrograde makes us feel impulsive, hasty, rushy, pressury. It makes us want to do what we want to do, exactly like a child would, right? Which child has ever really listened when they want to do something or they want a toy in a store? And so they went ahead. In less than 2 months, that engagement broke with acrimony and hatred. And in fact, his mother said, I will pay more attention to this the next time you say Mercury retrograde. And closer home, my son, who's working for India's biggest multinational education portal, was asked to return to the city where they were headquartered. And Jan of that year was Mercury retrograde. And the company turned its entire branding agenda, KRA being key result areas, on its head. My son and his team were in a complete state of tizzy, and I predicted then, only because I knew it's Mercury retrograde and I know how Mercury retrograde behaves, that this new style of working and branding was going to backfire. It was going to lead to frustration, confusion, and lack of clarity, and it did. In the next Mercury retrograde, when my son was called back, because this was after COVID and the lockdown, so he had returned home, it was again Mercury retrograde and lots of pressure. So there's the pressure that Mercury retrograde brings, and then there is a pressure that authority can put on you. So my son, completely frazzled, he was like, I can't tell them, Mom, that my mom is saying Mercury retrograde. I can't come for a month. He went. My son is the child of divorce, and he had the worst month of his life. He put in his papers, he came back, and that company, after that, month after month, has only been going down. Their track record is almost nil, and they are right now in trouble because they had raised funding to the tune of millions of dollars and now are not being able to be answerable to their investors.
Wow. Well, I wanted to say real quick, there was a little bit of an echo. It sounds like what we're looking at here with retrograde is some opportunities for ascension, but then it sounds like through some of your stories of your son and others, some big pitfalls, especially in 2023. How, looking to go forward, and I know there are a lot of folks who have some challenges they want to move beyond quickly. Looking forward from that perspective, how do we use retrograde for faster ascension type energies? How do we use it as kind of a slingshot? And is that possible during this year?
Very much so. In fact, we're on this call because not only is it possible, but you're going to experience it here and now. You've already seen how quickly the decrees can make us shift and respond. How is the echo, Darius?
I think it was on my end, but I think it's gone. No, it's good. We're good. It's gone.
Awesome. I whispered a decree and, well, awesome.
Oh, the rest is history. I love it.
I want to introduce you to your brain. And the thing about the brain that nobody really talks about is the fact that the brain always exists in the now. And the now means that the past, present, future is simultaneously present, which means that right now I am the infant, the baby, the child, the teenager, the young adult, the professional, the older adult, the wife, the roles I have played. Everything is now. When I take a look at my story and how far I have come, in fact, let's do a quick check for ourselves, and let's do it with money, because the second time Mercury is going to go retrograde, he's retrograding in the sign of Taurus, which is the sign for money and stability. So let's do a check for ourselves, and then I'm going to show you how quickly we're going to move into a future which is way more happier and more grander and more beautiful than our past. Remember, the past is also here and now, because that's how you know how to drive a car or tie your shoelace or eat, even though you learned to do this decades ago. But because everything is in the now, right now, you could still be playing out an old story. So I want you to think about your money story from your childhood, and not the details of the story, but the result of the story. Was there enough? Was there scarcity? Was there financial stress? Did you have money but wanted more? Were you denied money? Were you shamed for asking for money? What is your childhood money story? And you're going to have that answer very quickly. You really need the first two sentences that popped into your mind. Now tell me, today, what is your money story? Are you being denied it? Are you being shamed for asking it? Is there enough, but would you like more? Is there financial stress? And what I want you to see is if it's the exact same story. While you do this check and let Darius know, I'm going to tell you the other thing about the brain that, again, nobody talks about. Everything is now and everything is real to the brain, which is why when you sit in a horror movie, you get scared. You know it's a horror movie, but you get scared. War veterans, when they come back home after the war, have PTSD symptoms. They have hyperstartlability with loud sounds. And this is happening at home. This is happening in a park. This is happening in a restaurant. Do they not know the war is over? They do, but they don't. Because for the brain, everything is now and everything is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Let us know real quick, what was that story? And then we are going to be working through this here with some callers. And also we're going to keep going. Let me know. Write in YouWealthRevolution.com/now. Keep going, Nidhu, and on this. And oh, gosh, I love it. A lot of interesting things coming in. Go ahead and keep going, and then I'll share some.
Great. Your best brain is the brain that is functioning optimally, positively, productively, constructively. Not a brain that's been taken over by the past, because remember, everything is in the now. And not a brain that is taken over by the inner critic, because that is also part of a reality we've all had. We've all had this. Somebody calling us stupid, or somebody saying you're not good enough, or you're useless, or you'll never make it work. It all sticks. And for the brain, everything is real and everything is always happening simultaneously. Simultaneously, I am trying to deal with my past. Simultaneously, I'm trying to create my future. And everything is happening here. The brain functions at 1 billion operations per second. That's a quintillion operations per second, and we can't even gauge what that kind of speed means. And exaflops terminology is the terminology from the computer technological world. And exaflops is a measurement of the fastest computer possible. And flops, FLOPS, is floating operation points per second. Billion operations per second. Quintillion operations per second. But for a brain that is dealing with a lot of baggage from the past, that brain is not exaflopping. In Mercury retrograde, you will know exactly how well your brain is exaflopping. An exaflops brain is your most greatest potential being made into reality, which is what we want. That potential of us, like this divine blueprint that you were indicating, Darius, earlier, where what we have come here to actually receive, the path to that, there will be pain, there will be struggle, but we need not stay there. It was how it was. It need not be how it is, but the brain doesn't know the difference. Our awareness does. And ascension is the consciousness, awareness gain. That awareness where you are able to make that choice. And again, we spoke about this right at the beginning of this call. The choice to choose a better future. Because for the brain will keep projecting, and that's the other thing the brain does. The brain keeps projecting assumptions based on what you know. Because the brain only knows what it has learned. And what it has learned is how to tie your shoelace and that money is scarce. Or how to drive a car, but love is difficult. Or I can't have it all. Or I can't shed weight. The brain functions on projecting into the future. Everything is illuminated in the light of the past. And the past is what you will bring into the future, and you're creating it here today if you are saying the same story. And check with money. Are you saying the same story? You know, it was AC. AC had debt, and he wanted to clear debt. And for him, it was like, I'm not getting money. I'm not making enough money. I am working, but there isn't the money. How am I going to make money? Because the decrees they're so much fun to work with money and everything else also. But money is tangible, right? Every day we get to check whether money has shown up or an opportunity has shown up. It's super fun. So when AC came with this, and we started doing the work, we started doing the clearings around this. He mentioned his debt. And then I asked him, said, so how much money have you made? And he wanted time. And then when he came back, he was absolutely shocked because he had made over 800,000. But the story he was living is, I don't have enough money. There isn't enough money, because his past, in his childhood, all he heard was his mother say, I don't have enough money, your father's not giving me enough money. And his father saying, I don't have enough money, your mother keeps asking me for money, where am I supposed to get it from? Which was really the almost exact sentence he said to me. I'm not getting enough money, where am I going to get money from? The way we end up repeating is because the brain only knows what it has learned. And what it has learned, it clings to. Essentially, this unlearning, relearning. It is about remembering that your superconscious is the part of you that is limitless, that has no beginning, it has no end. The treasure trove of gold and light is eternal. And therefore, the move to that is fastest with the decrees, because they are the language of 5D, the language of the superconscious, and the language of light.
Yeah, it sounds like what I'm getting, and I want to thank you for this, because this is a huge opening of awareness that we have these portals coming this year, and we either are going to get into that sort of reactionary cyclical brain that is going to potentially make some challenging decisions that may not be things we want, or we now have an opportunity to tap into this ExaBrain. And interestingly, you have decrees for the activation of more and more of this ExaBrain, and we're going to get a chance to accelerate that. And so this is now the vehicle pathway, I guess, for the year. So what I want to do, Nidhu, if we could, I want to take some callers, because now that I see, and I think people see kind of the way that we can now supercharge going forward into the year and receive the things we want, this is going to be a very exciting acceleration point for so many people.
Let's do it.
Wow. All right. I've got a caller in Montana, 406 area code in Kalispell, Montana. Kalispell, are you there in Kalispell, or somebody there? I don't have a name.
Hi, it's Linda.
Hey, Linda, how's it going? Do you understand what's happening now from Nidhu about the retrogrades and the ExaBrain and the acceleration potential? Okay.
Okay, I had written in about weight, but now that I listen to her talking, I'm going, wow, what other possibilities do I really need to look at? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, okay. And the money I was putting in, and I was thinking I was the oldest of 5 kids, and there wasn't always a lot of money. And so I was the one that had to understand that the others would get it. And I'm really looking at, even though I'm okay and I seem to manifest money, where is that underlying affecting me?
Yeah, and I want to thank you for
writing in.
writing in.
I really was calling in about weight, that I keep putting on weight.
I bet you Nidhu's going to have something for both. I don't know. I'm going to let her jump in here. She's Wonder Woman.
So, hi, Linda.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call, too.
And that would be thanks to Darius. So first, Linda, can you tell me your age right now? Because I'm going to tell you exactly where this whole thing began, and then I'm going to exaflop your brain, and then we're going to give you the decree for it. So tell me what your age is right now.
I'm 76.
I see. So this started when you were 6 years old. And this has repeated itself at your 13, 19, 26, 33, 39 ages onwards. Because I love how Darius put it, the repetitive cyclicalness of the brain means that we keep repeating the same program. We keep repeating it in various ages. And so for your 6-year-old, now at 6, what did you say your money story was? And tell me what your weight story was as well at that time. That others get easily than you, that others have a bigger right than you?
I was the oldest of 5 kids in a family that was in a rural area, Montana. We did not have a lot of money. And so it was always, if the presents or whatever came around, they came into the younger ones. And I, as the older one, it's interesting, came up was that I was supposed to take care of them too. That was the other part of it, that I had to override my wishes to take care of them.
So you had to sacrifice in taking care.
That would be.
Correct.
And that probably was my first significant event that triggered all these others that going along. But I didn't even realize I had that going on, even though I'm financially, I make money. I'm not like wealthy, but it comes to me and I'm taken care of.
Lovely.
Now.
Lovely. At the same time, do you find yourself still repeating this pattern where you are sacrificing for the good of others, where you are taking care of others and you attract people who want you to take care of them?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Okay. And financially, I in fact, I just had one pass away that I took care of her for 15 or some years. I mean, even to get gas money to come and check on her was an issue. And her kids were unthankful, and they lived in South Carolina and she was in Montana. So yes, that was the most recent one that I would say, as well as I was divorced, a single mom, raised a single son with not very much help as far as financially from his father. But he did pay, but not, a lot.
Correct. So sorry, go ahead, Darius.
Oh, I was going to say, what decrees would you recommend for her? What could we do here?
So first, I'm going to exaflop the brain into coming into this. And everybody is also going to receive this. And I am starting the clearing. Linda, if you have some water, just have it.
I do. Thank you.
Awesome. Brain, my brain, the exaflop brain. Brain, my brain, the exaflops brain. Brain, exaflopping, 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 exaflopping. Have some more water. Because the past, present, and future exists in the now, we are going to honor all of it. So you're going to say, I was self-sacrificing.
I was self-sacrificing.
Now I'm not.
Now I am not. Ooh, that goes down the center.
Awesome. I was not given enough.
I was not given enough.
Now I am.
Now I am.
I begin receiving better and more money.
I begin receiving better and more money.
I was overweight.
I was overweight.
Now I'm not.
Now I am not.
I begin shedding my excess weight.
I begin shedding my excess. I didn't get that word.
My excess weight.
Exact weight?
Excess weight?
Oh, excess weight.
Yeah.
Got it. I now begin shedding my excess weight.
Have water. Tell us how you're doing. How is it making you feel?
I have an energy running down my back spine, down through, and I seem to be standing up straighter, or I'm sitting up straighter, I should say.
Mm.
And it's interesting, my stomach. There's something going on in my stomach.
Mm.
And we can...
It's turning.
And that would be the anxiety at change, because you see, the other thing about the brain is while it's the most flexible of all our organs, it's also the most resistant to change. So I was anxious. I was anxious. Now I'm not.
And now I am not.
I was unable to change.
I was unable to change.
Now I do.
Now I do. With easy grace.
Isn't it? I begin healing this.
I begin healing this? Is that what?
That's right. So just two more times.
Okay.
I begin healing this.
I begin healing this.
And the moment you're feeling a little better, standing taller, you're breathing better, your day has already shifted towards ascension and the superconscious. And as you keep this practice going, you will shed the weight, because the weight is heaviness, right? Meaning you don't feel very light. I was heavy, now I'm not. I wasn't light, now I am.
I wasn't a light, and now I am.
Yeah. So you see, we're acknowledging, because a lot of work takes place either in taking care of the past or on only focusing on the future. But the brain needs to be honored in how it works. And it works with past and future. So I was, and now. I was, and now. And I begin. I begin is an exaflops decree. I begin means the brain says, okay, my focus needs to be more here than in the cyclical repetition of my past.
Mm-hmm. Wow. I got to say...
Did you say begins and then instantly happen?
It has already started. I mean, the moment body reactions. How is the churning in the stomach?
It stopped, yes.
There you go.
I feel a little bloated, and so it's now releasing.
Nice.
Fantastic. So it has already started. All you need is the daily practice to make it a muscle memory. Like when you learned first to brush your teeth, you didn't learn it the first day. Your mother had to keep insisting, and you're a single mother. You know how many times you've had to remind your child to put their towels back, clothes back. Practice is everything, and it's a language. So you want to be able to practice to make it colloquial, that when something comes up in your head, you're going to exaflop and you're going to begin while honoring whatever it is that did take place, because we cannot move forward without healing and resolving the past. Otherwise, the past will always hold us back.
Wow. Thank you, Linda. Let us know what you're feeling as this kind of moves, and you already shared some. I feel like my head is just buzzing. This is pretty amazing, and I was not really, I think, aligning to that as what she was working through, but I could feel some energies here. So real quick, I'm going to check in with Linda, and then we're going to do a process today. Linda, how's it going? I felt like I needed to check back with you real quick. What are you feeling right now?
I'm actually doing fine. I just had a question. Do we keep repeating that statement, the past and was and now statements every day? Is that what to retrain the memory?
That's correct. That's part of the practice and getting to speak the language. There are about 75 decrees, but for our work, these are the ones that we're going to be focusing on the most. So the past, present, future, being a greater, more beautiful future. The past resolving itself into the higher superconscious for the future.
Okay. I am blown away by that ExaBrain language. I want to do more of that. God, I want to figure that out. So we're going to have to talk more about that, because that sounds and felt like, even just as I was hearing it, like something I'd never felt before. So I'm pretty interested now about where this is going to go. And this is amazing, because timing it with these portals means we have some real miraculous things coming up. So everyone, take as many notes as possible, write down as much of this as possible. We're going to be doing a group process today, and I think if you can master some of this, it is going to be hugely beneficial. Tell us what we're going to be doing today for everybody on the call. We have a group process called the Power of No. Tell me about it. And let's do it. Looking at the time, let's do it. But go ahead, please.
So the power of no is also part of how we acknowledge the past and the future, because we are already in the present. The power of no is the way that we take care of what happened and simultaneously what we want, because we are saying no to that story and we are saying yes, therefore, to a newer story. And there are about 5 ways in which to use the power of no, but the power of no that we're going to be using on our call right now is the power of not. N-O-T.
Okay.
And N-O-T is, so taking Linda's example, or everybody else, if you shared your story and how it was similar, we will take your examples as well. Like Linda mentioned, the fact that she wasn't getting enough. Even today, she has money, she's taken care of, she would love more, and there is the weight project. So, using the power of no, and the weight again, the weight didn't happen this year, it didn't happen last year. It started when she was 6 years old. We didn't get that confirmation, but I'm sure Linda will write back. It started there, and the brain is there as well today. So here's the thing. When we use the word not, we use the opposite of what is happening. So, light, which is what we want, because when we have excess weight, we feel big, we feel heavy, we feel, So, we want light, not heavy. Perfect weight, not overweight.
Yes.
Happiness, not suffering. Movement, not stuckness. Movement, not stuckness. Movement, not stuckness. Exaflop's brain, not traumatized brain. Exaflop's brain, not stressed out brain. Exaflop's brain, not challenged brain. Love, not sorrow. Love, not sorrow. Love, not hate. Joy, not pain. Relief, not fear. Ease, not stress. Support, not aloneness. Companionship, not loneliness. Harmony, not disharmony. Prosperity, not poverty. Abundance, not scarcity. Free-flowing, not famine. Light, not dark. Smiling, not frowning. Great digestion, not acidity. Super health, not illness. Great wealth, not struggle. Everything that happened, not anymore. And what you would like comes in because we are saying not to all the ways that we were held back, all the ways that we were denied, all the ways that we were suppressed, repressed, oppressed, compressed, depressed. Whatever is your project, your problem, your issue, your trouble, think of the opposite. That opposite, like happiness, not sorrow. Gratitude, not thanklessness. Value, not taken for granted. Priority, not taken for granted. Important, not taken for granted. Respected, not rejected. Respected, not abused. Respected, not misused. Love, not judgments. Love, not rejection. Love, not misunderstandings. Love, not abandonment. Togetherness, not abandonment. Togetherness, not separation. Integrity, not separations. Oneness, not fragmentation. Have water? Please let Darius know how we're doing.
Everybody take a drink. Wow. Oh my gosh. Share with us what is coming in. How are you doing? Can we do just a couple more? Sarah said that is wonderful, amazing. Wow. Judy said, oh my gosh, thank you. Yep. Can we do a couple more? I was enjoying those.
And let's do it with money. And
okay.
The other power of no we experienced with Linda. So let me do it with that. Which is to say, I was and now I'm not. I was financially stressed. Now I'm not. I was financially stressed. Now I'm not. I was financially stressed Now I'm not. I was financially worried. Now I'm not. I was financially worried. Now I'm not. I was financially worried. Now I'm not. I was reliving my mother's financial worries. Now I don't. I was reliving my father's financial worries. Now I don't. I was recreating my childhood money traumas. Now I don't. I was recreating my childhood financial traumas. Now I don't. I was recreating my childhood money scarcity. Now I don't. I was projecting my lack of money into the future. Now I don't. I was projecting my lack of money into the future. Now I don't. I was projecting my denied monies into the future. Now I don't. I was assuming debt in the future. Now I don't. I was in debt. Now I am getting out of it. I was in debt. I was projecting this debt into the future. I was recreating this debt. Now I don't. I was stressed out about the future. Now I'm not. I was stuck in my old money story. Now I'm not. I begin a new money story now. I was reliving my family's lack of money. Now I don't. I was reliving my ancestral lack of money. Now I don't. I was reliving my past lives' vows of poverty. Now I don't. Prosperity, not poverty. Abundance, not scarcity. Money, not denials. Wealth, not poverty. Free-flowing cash, not stuckness. I was stuck in a terrible money story. Now I'm not. I wasn't believing I can get more money. Now I do. I wasn't sure I am worthy of getting more money. Now I am. I wasn't worthy. Now I am. I begin feeling worthier and worthier and worthier and worthier and worthier. I was not deserving of great money. Now I am. I begin feeling more deserving and more deserving and more deserving and so much more deserving and so much more and more deserving every day in every way. I begin expressing my value. I wasn't sure of my value. Now I am. I wasn't sure I could raise my prices. Now I do. I was recreating, assuming, projecting old money stories. Now I don't. I begin new financial stories. I begin new money stories. I begin healing. I begin transforming my money stories. I begin. Brain, exaflopping, 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 exaflopping. Brain, my brain, the brain, the exaflopping brain, the money exaflopping brain, the money exaflopping brain, the money exaflopping brain. I begin exaflopping my money story. I begin exaflopping my money mind. I begin exaflopping my wealth mentality. I begin exaflopping. I begin exaflopping my brain. Brain, exaflopped. Exaflopped. Switch, 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 switched. Please have water. By the way, one of the things that keeps our brain happy is hydration. So lots of water, everybody.
Wow. Taking a drink in a minute here. Wow. All right, let me take a drink. Hold on. Okay. Wow. I want to hear from everybody. I'm kind of buzzing right now. And I know a lot of people. Wow. Thank you for that bonus too, Nidhu. This is really going to be a transformative year. These are some amazing things happening. Vas Angel just said, sending warmth in the spine. Oh my gosh. God bless. Another person, that was so wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. And as people are writing in, another person wrote in, wow, feeling heat and shifts. Thank you very much. Judy, thank you. I had this fear of not having enough money for retirement. Wow. Thank you. Another person wrote on, thank you. Big shifts already, feeling it. So keep sharing with us what is going on and where you're feeling this in your body. How's your brain feeling? Another person, God bless you, Nidhu. Love to you and Darius. It feels like things got rewired. It's amazing. It's so interesting because there's like this kind of like the old pathway. I'm going to try to explain this. It's like the old pathway, at least in my brain, it's not there anymore. And it's maybe trying to do it, but it's just not there. And it feels like there's something new. There's like a buzzing. There's like a tingling. There's like an openness. So I'm incredibly impressed and excited today with this. This is awesome.
And Darius, I'm not surprised actually that you've used these perfect words, which is like a rewiring and a pathway, because it is a series of pathways and the brain works in firing and wiring, like the neural pathways.
Firing and wiring,
And firing and wiring. So when you exaflop your brain, your neural associations, because every time the pattern repeated or another situation like the Sim one from your past showed up, the brain clumped it all together and made the program stronger. And then rewiring and reframing is very important in the brain. And an exaflop brain will do this automatically. Right now, we've got to give some support because the brain didn't even know we could exaflop, and we are exaflopping. And so it's going to grab it because at the end of the day, all of us like to feel good, and good is just another way of saying light. All of us want that light. So does the brain. And
I agree. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Darius. Absolutely. Rewiring, reframing, and completely changing all pathways.
Yeah, we had Malvika, she says, or he says, I feel awesome. Another person, Judy, wow, fabulous. Talk about breaking ceilings. Sarah, joyful, love it, thank you. Berlin in the UK, feeling buzzing, refreshed, clarity in my head, and so many more are coming in. I want to talk a little bit about what you are doing with the exo-flopping and the ExaBrain, and also the newest level of 5D language for manifestations in the instantaneous form. And we're going to be talking about that, particularly around some cosmic events. We've been talking about these portals, and I asked everybody, what's one big thing that you really want to shift? What's something that you want to let go of in this time? Well, guess what? I think we have the formula. We have the recipe book, and now we have some events coming up, and we're going to talk about this. Go to this page because we're going to give you a little bit of a preview of what's coming. and we're going to talk about the cosmic calendar, but then also some doorways that Nidhu's going to open up with this cosmic calendar. It's at YouWealthRevolution.com/Nidhu25, which is NIDHU 25, Nidhu 25, and what are you doing with some of the big events coming in, particularly these retrogrades? Because each one is going to give people a very special portal for transforming some big things in their world.
That's correct. And while some years have all planets go retrograde, which is what happened in 2020, and well, we need not revisit 2020, this year, not all planets will retrograde, but because our focus is Mercury, because you see, the brain is the organ of ascension, and Mercury reveals maximum what's going on in our brain, because
I see. Okay. Yeah.
Maximum in Mercury retrograde. We get impatient, we get annoyed, we get frustrated, we get tantrumy, we get negative. And negativity is the opposite of light. Negativity is as far as you can get from your superconscious. And therefore, that bridge is what we're going to be doing this year thrice more. Like, we're going to be working in April and May, then we're going to be working in August and September, and we're going to be working in December as well as January. In fact, in the April-May timeline, Pluto is also going retrograde. And Pluto, he's the tiniest, but he's the most dynamite, because he is the of global transformations. When Pluto goes retrograde, and depending on what else is going retrograde, is when things like the lockdown take place. I mean, a lot of that was Pluto. And
no more. We don't want any more lockdowns. That's right. Well, but what is? Yeah, I mean, what's the next thing, right? I'm so glad that you mentioned the three different date ranges. So the way that this special opportunity is set up, which is very exciting at Nidhu 25, is you're going to get a chance, if you feel called, to work with Nidhu either through April and May, or April and May and August and September, or April, May, August, September, and again through the third retrograde, December through January. So each package, A, B, and C, has different correlated dates, and if you decide to go with C, then you're going to be supported all the way through all of the retrogrades. So it's kind of like a whole year using this portal, using this cosmic portal, and this secret pathway of the ExaBrain, and this discovery of this higher self brain, essentially, to lightning through these acceleration portals. So think about something you really want to shift. You do not want to do a certain thing anymore. You want to move forward. It's money. Maybe you're going to focus on, in the first retrograde, money, or in the second one, it's going to be weight or vitality. In the third one, it's going to be relationships. You're going to get an opportunity to do that. And so for people to understand what's happening, let's take the first one on the page, and you're going to do a few things. The first thing you've got, which I think is pretty cool, you're going to do a series of some ExaBrain remote alchemy. 10 of these. Now, remember, this is the brain that you shared is connected to our ascension, connected to our higher self. What are these remote alchemy transmissions going to be doing with the ExaBrain during the first retrograde period?
So the remote transmission is where you just sit back and you give the activation phrase, and the activation phrase could be a version of what you have heard, or it could be brand new. You're just going to have a glass of water, give the activation phrase, and process the shifts taking place. Because the ExaFlops is about your brain becoming more future positive oriented, not assumptions and projections, but what you want. For you to make those choices more easily, because the brain, in conjunction with the central nervous system, which is handled by Mercury as well, is the part that drives action. You want to give the decree, and you also want to be able to take action organically, whether it is eating better, whether it is attracting opportunities, whether it is finding partnerships. You want to be able to take action. You want to make your resume, you want to get onto that dating app, you want to join the gym. taking action can happen only with your best, most optimized brain. And the remote alchemy, when I do it, in fact, Darius, if we could make some time, in fact, I will do a remote one. It will take just 2 minutes, and I will do a remote one for everybody. It takes place in silence. And even though today I'm not going to give you an activation phrase because we are talking to each other, you will experience something in the body. So we're going to be doing 10 of these, and we're only doing 10 of these because the brain needs a integration period. So we're going to be doing every third day in the package. On every package, there are 3 packages across the year, and each package has some time for you to process what is happening. Like, for example, if your brain is right now terribly stuck, and by the way, you'll know if your brain is stuck because if you'll just take your tips of your fingers on both sides of your head and just try and move your scalp should be flexible. Your scalp should have a sense of movement. If your scalp is not moving easily, as in when you shake it a little bit, as you know, it should move a bit. If it's not moving easily, then the brain has gotten stuck in the past. It's not exaflopping easily. When we unstuck the brain, what has to release may require you to rest, may require you to eat a little lesser, may require you to process a little bit of unwellness. It doesn't happen for everybody, but it could happen because the fact is that the more trauma and abuse, and rejection and betrayal and losses you have dealt with growing up, the worse it gets in Mercury retrograde. Because remember, we are regressive. So we want our upgrade to take place. I will also be sharing. Sorry, go ahead, Darius.
You have live calls as well, which I want to jump to because package A, and each of these packages, you're going to have live calls during the retrograde. So in package A, there's 5 live calls, and these are your blockbusting seconds decrees. So tell me really quick about this because I want to walk through some of these different pieces. What are you going to be doing on some of these live calls for the first retrograde period? And then I'll also make note, you're going to also get a remote 5-minute transmission for something you really want to get unstuck with. This is a remote alchemy session and a lot more. But tell me about the 5 live calls for the first retrograde period coming up here.
So they're completely to do with money. We're in the sign of money stability, which is Taurus, but Pluto is also going to be going retrograde, which means it's a fantastic opportunity for us to completely transform what's going on with our money story, whether it is blocks to receiving. And by the way, if you're a giver, you guaranteed have a block to receiving. Like givers have the maximum block to receiving. I'm so sorry, not block to giving, but block to receiving. Second, everything the brain has learned, it has learned not just by what you have gone through, but what you have seen taking place as well. If your parents were continuously fighting about money, you will end up believing and projecting into the future that money causes troubles. Your generational money story is also part of the money story the brain is projecting into the future right now. So taking care of family, financial trauma, taking care of the blocks to receiving is what we're going to be doing across these 5 calls. And by the way, all calls have a standardization where we will do a warm-up session, which is where we will feel better, we will feel lighter, we will breathe better because breathing also tells us how well our brain is working. If you're breathing shallow, the brain needs to exaflop. So we will bring in that standardization on every call. And whatever is going on with your money story, bring it to all of those calls. 5 calls, 5 is the number for Mercury. So 5 calls, and we will take care of your money story as well as integrate the money story you want. Because it's one thing to clear, and remember, that's the balance, right? We take care of the past, but we also take care of the future.
I love it. I love it. I got to share, there's a lot of stories coming in. One person said tingling, major tingling around my head. Lisa said, I can't believe how much I've learned today. Wow. Another person said, wow, incredible. My body responded with emotion. I felt release in the statements. So we are taking this down to the next level because Nidhu's going to be working with folks for a whole year, essentially, through the next 3 retrograde periods. So the first one, as I shared, is package A, and this period of time is April 19th to May 17th, and you're going to have some live sessions, some opportunities to actually get 5 live sessions with Nidhu in a group working with this energy, and you can read all about it. Then you're going to get 10 remote ExaBrain activations plus 5-minute speedster session. And real quick, I want to jump to some of the others because if you kind of understand one, you're going to understand all 3, but I want to talk about some of the differences because they are some. What is the 5-minute speedster session in package A? And this is a remote alchemy. How do people work this? What do they do, and how do they prepare for this one?
So the 5 minutes is for your unique story. Okay. At the end of the day, pain is pain, but you will have a different story for that pain. So in this 5 minutes, and it's remote, however, you will still be scheduling a session. And when you schedule the session, in the intake form, you will mention what's going on with money, what you would like done, and then at that allocated hour, I will begin the work at my end. You will have your glass of water, and by the way, we do turbocharged water with the decrees, and you will get that in your welcome email, which means your water will also be supporting your ascension. And it'll take you just a minute to turbocharge your water into ascension water. So you will have your water, and you will just receive the clearings or the downloads or the decrees that are going to be sent to you in silence. But it is a session. It's just that we are not going to be getting on a call. It's just at that time. And by the way, if you think it's okay, I rather receive this when I'm sleeping, book your time when you're sleeping. It's okay. When you get up, you have your glass of water and see how you are feeling and how that particular day brings you a new way of thinking, new way of feeling, and a new way of taking action.
I love it. Oh, my goodness. I want to say a few things about this, too. You're also doing a few other things here. You've got a private group because we're dealing with a very unique opportunity in terms of some of the shifts. And you have a Telegram group. You have a Speak the Decrees group. And the other thing that I thought was kind of interesting, too, is you have some weekday decrees. These are designed to support the ExaBrain so that we actually take the 4 weeks in April and May and we literally create lightning speed transformation. So again, do we allow this retrograde to retard us back to where we were and go sync, or do we accelerate through these portals? So that's where the support's going to be huge. Tell me about the weekday decrees, and then I want to talk about the next one because now you're going to have 2 periods, and I want to know what's different about that. But tell me about the weekday decrees.
So the weekday decrees are part of your practice because at the end of the day, your brain neuroplasticizes only when you practice, when you retrain it. And the practice is the speaking of the language. So one is the remote alchemy being done for the exaflop's brain, and that you will just receive. And the other is where you are given the decree to practice with. And again, it will be in breaks of 3 days so that you can practice it today and tomorrow, because everything has a cumulative effect. When you do it today, like you've had the tingling, you've had the moving, Linda's churning stopped. When you do it again tomorrow, something else could show up. Like you could have the reaction in another place, because at the end of the day, the body, the brain, it is one. But the brain reflects the emotional state of the body as well as the physical state of the body. If there is pain in the body, the brain knows I must not give an instruction for action. So this bouncing off, where every organ, every system, every hormone, every enzyme, every neural pathway is connected, is to make sure that while you're exaflopping your brain, you are also training it to speak differently. Because right now your brain is speaking your past language. Right now your brain is speaking the same story like happened with AC. There is money, but you're saying I don't have money, or there isn't enough money, or I would like more money, but it's not showing up, because that was the old story. So the retraining of the brain happens in your practicing the new language. And that's what the decrees will do. While your brain is also being taken care of in exaflopping, because an exaflop's brain is very open to learning, is very open to new pathways. Yes. Right now, it's not, because we didn't even know that we needed to retrain the brain.
Now, in package B, I want to share, we have another period, August 21st to September 30th. And if you want to grab this one, I'll share really quick. During these very focused acceleration portals, you're going to get to create some very big shifts and be supported through Nidhu's work. And what is this second one going to be about? Is there a different theme as we kind of move into the August 21st to September 30th retrograde? Or what do those 5 60-minute live group calls, what are they going to be focusing on as you chase the light and activate the Exa mind with these amazing folks that are going to be a part of it?
This one is about the mind, because in August, September, both Venus and Jupiter will also retrograde, which means that how we deal with our relationships, and all our relationships are dealt with the way that we think about the relationship. This is the time where we will get most hypercritical, because August, September in the sign of Virgo, and Virgo is the perfectionist. We will be very upset if things are not perfect, and perfection is normally defined by how I define perfection, right? Perfection is subjective. So there, where we don't want to get upset, because that upsetness is a tantrumy child saying it should be exactly the way I want it to be. Paris should be the new capital of India, because that's what I wrote in my exam.
Right.
That kind of regression in August, September is where we want to take care of the perfectionist disorders, savior disorders, the inner critic, and bring in kindness, gentleness, tenderness. Again, we'll have to exaflop the brain, because I know this is true for all of us. God knows it's been true for me for so long. We're so hard on ourselves. We're so harsh with ourselves. I mean, if we hear the things we're telling ourselves, it's almost like we poison ourselves. It's almost like we bring ourselves down. Again, everything we learned. And therefore, how to treat ourselves better. Our connection with ourselves is the focus of the retrograde in August, September. Like in December, Jan, the focus will become the body as well as the brand fresh year. But in August, September, it's the relationship with ourselves. It's about integrity. Integrity is an integration of mind, body, heart, thought, feeling, action. And where I could be criticizing my job but still going to it. Now that's not integrity. So that sense of self-worth, that sense of self-connection, and that sense of self-confidence is what we will bring in August, September, because Mercury retrograde at this time is going to remind you about why you're not good enough. And
we don't want to, that's like a whole false string, a false narrative path, and if you're here and you don't want to go through that and you want to activate this ExaMind and activate the highest ascension pathway with some support from Nidhu Kapoor, I've never seen anything like this. And I want to give everybody the logistics, because if you've been kind of plug it in, you'll kind of get that, okay, we've got 3 retrogrades coming up. The dates are on the page, youwealthrevolution.com/Nidhu25. And you basically are going to choose, do I want to work with her through the first one? Do I want to work with her through the first and second? And if you do, then choose package B, and then you're going to get everything in A plus everything in B. And if you want to work with her for the whole year and just move beyond all this stuff into your best life possible and get that energetic support, like we saw with so many people who were plugging in, just like these new pathways, then go with C. The big difference here with some of these is on some you have like additional longer speedster sessions. Tell me about this, because in package C, for those people that go deeper into that one, they're going to get a 20-minute speedster session. Now, what does that mean? This is actually going to be talking with you, right, instead of the remote. So package B gets folks time with you, and so does package C, I presume, right, where you are talking with them. Okay, tell us about that.
So in package B, we get to spend about 10 minutes together, and you can see how quick it is, right? I just need to know your story, which we put in the intake form, so we will hit the ground running.
And you're going to do the ExaBrain alchemy, so this is going to be shifting also how the brain, I don't want to say wired, but in a sense it's like how we make these connections, right? So having you shift that personally would be huge.
Thank you. It is great fun, and of course the 20 minutes is when we can chat a little bit more. I must tell you that sometimes the 10-minute session gets over in 5, and sometimes the 20-minute session gets over in 10. Because we're moving so rapidly, and because you need time to process as well, your mind may not even come up with another stuckness to take care of. Although very quickly, because I brought up not good enough, let me quickly say this. I was not good enough. Now I am. I begin acknowledging my good enoughness. I was not good enough. Now I am. I begin acknowledging my good enoughness. I was not good enough. Now I am. I begin acknowledging my good enoughness. And I've probably given you one of the decrees that we will definitely be practicing in August. And in December, when we spend 20 minutes together, we can do, because I would like the focus to be around the body and the weight, because, it is the party season. So we want to look good, and we always look good when we feel good and we feel like our bodies are also at their best. So very, very physically oriented program takes place in December. Having said that, your 20-minute VIP session can be on anything else that you would like as well. You need not wait till December, or you could wait till December as well to schedule your session, but anytime is fine. I also want to mention that all of these packages also gets you a home group support till December 31st, 2024, because the home group support is where you continue to practice the decree language, which means that when you take up a package, of course, you are also doing it because you want to feel better and you want to get better and you want to get more better, but also because you want to have this system where you can just switch in seconds on a daily basis. And you will need some practice for that. So the home group till December 31st, 2024, which is next year, December, is also yours. It will not have the same things we are doing on our program, but it will have other things, which is why if you're new to the decrees, you would not join that immediately. You would join it after you have spent some time with the remote alchemy, practicing the daily decrees, finishing some group calls, doing your remote session or your speedster session, then you would join it. Because otherwise, you also don't want to overwhelm the brain. You also don't want the brain to take 10 days to now process and integrate what's happened.
Yes. I love this. I want to share real quick. We've got a huge opportunity. This is a really amazing year-long program. I mean, essentially, but it's also compounding so much of the energetic shifts. So again, if there is something that you absolutely say, not ever again, I want to move beyond it, this is the time to utilize these energies. And it's a very potent cosmic calendar that we are looking at. And the other thing is, if you want to go deeper, we've got some pretty cool ways to do it. Package A is just 2 payments of $100. Package B is 2 payments of $139, so it's a little bit more. Package C is 2 payments of just $200, but that's for the whole year. So I mean, the amount of time and shifts is enormous. And then you've had stories about all sorts of amazing things with money, people having huge shifts. And also want to mention a bonus that's between now and Sunday at midnight. There's going to be some additional power upgrades and 5 more ExaBrain alchemies that people are going to be getting through 2 live group calls. But I'll talk about that in a moment. What are some of the stories around shifts around money and possibilities for people? What have you seen?
Overnight shifts. So Belinda holds the record for this, but 6 times her bank balance overnight.
Wow.
Yeah, Pradeep doubled the bank balance.
6 times. Oh, wow.
6 times. And Pradeep doubled overnight. And Purnima made an intention, and she was working on that intention. And within a day, by the end of the day, realized she had already accomplished her goal. In one day, she had already accomplished her goal. There was also Ritika, and Ritika started with almost 0. In less than 7 days, she had 140,000.
Wow. When we start using, I mean, there must be a compounding effect.
Yes.
When we start using this, we start creating another opportunity, and then we use it again, and there's an expansion of the opportunity, and then there's another opportunity, and then there's another And, we're now talking about going over the course of 3 retrogrades. So the compoundedness of all of this, plus now a new aspect we never talked about before, the ExaBrain, the compounding has to be enormous potentialities now coming into play. It's almost celestial shifts here that we're talking about.
That's correct. Everything compounds because everything becomes a new normal. Right? Nobody thinks twice now about how to use a spoon to eat. Nobody thinks twice about how to connect to a Zoom call. But the first time you would have done it, there would have been that hesitation. There's always a little bit of chance for trauma when we're doing something new. So the compounding effect is very important for us to get to the new normal of working and living through the superconscious, where you are constantly ascending. There is not going to be one point where you say, I have ascended. Your ascension is through your life. Your high, because there is no end to the treasure trove of golden light. And therefore the compounding effect is very important, which is also why all of these packages actually are for 2 years, 1.5 years, which is still December 31st, 2024, because you want to keep compounding it. You want to keep moving. If you start from $10 and you get 100, you will want 1,000. When you start with 1,000, you will want 10,000. From 10,000 to 1,000, the number keeps increasing. And just like that, as you keep working with more light and more gold and more alchemy, you will see that it's getting easier and easier to have more, get more, do more, better and better and better. So that compounding effect is also the way that you will train your brain the fastest to be exaflopping every time you find yourself in a situation where you feel like you're regressing. You don't want to regress. You want the brain to definitely be in the now, but the focus and attention must be in your desires being fulfilled in the future.
Yes.
This cumulative compounding effect is the only way that's going to make it happen.
I love it. I want to get to people's questions, and the compounding blows my mind. Living through the higher self and the superconscious, absolutely my cup of tea. And we got a bunch of questions coming in, but I would say check this out, YouWealthRevolution.com/Nidhu, NIDHU 25. And spaces may be limited for some of these. I know we've got a big audience that loves Nidhu, and I know also some of these are taking place on systems that may have limitations. So you may want to jump in. Now, here's a question. With so many options, but yet some different choices on how far they want to go, what would make somebody say, you know what, I'm going to just do the first group right in that retrograde period, April to May? Or what would make someone say the second group? Or what would make someone say, I want all three? What would be some factors there to figure out?
One, you could choose if you have something particular on your mind. Money is now up there with food, clothing, shelter. But even if it's not money, maybe you know that you're not good to yourself. You know that you need to take care of yourself better. You know that you need to start speaking to yourself better. And the third is your body. So you could make a choice based on that, but mostly it's because you want to continuously keep experiencing the joy of the lightness, brightness, rightness, gladness, and beauty on a daily basis. Because at the end of the day, much as the child in us wants results overnight, there is also an adult in us. There is also a healed self in us, which is in direct communication with the superconscious and the higher self. And that part of us knows that only what I spend time with, I will have more of. Because it takes 10,000 hours for you to see that effortlessness of a gymnast, for you to see that effortlessness of a marathon runner. Those 10,000 hours to put in, while we don't want to think it's going to take me 10,000 hours, and with the decrees, it's not going to take 10,000 hours. Right. But there is a part of you that knows that. And this part of you is the one that needs to be in charge. Right now, the child is in charge. And in most cases, the child gets in charge because the brain goes backward. For anybody who is interested in just being better and better and better and lighter and better and lighter and safer and protected and blessed and feeling highly favored and fortunate, take the entire year.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. If somebody has a challenge with money, what would you say? They say, well, I can't afford to do a year. Is it possible? Now, everyone's different. So, and we all, we have to put ourselves out there, but is it possible to open up finances using this package so that you get it for free, or you maybe even make a big increase in your income just because you decided you were going to do it? What would you say there? Is it possible?
Absolutely possible. And why not? Why not is also a decree. It's Uranus's decree. He's like the elder octave of Mercury, but he doesn't bring as much chaos as Mercury does. So he's the why not. He's the, why not?
That's right. That's right. Why not? And why not triple, quadruple, times 100? Why not a windfall? I love it. A couple questions coming in from folks, and it is at YouWealthRevolution.com/Nidhu25. Quick questions about some of the different calls. One person's got a question about the different dates and what is going on. She says, well, this is Lisa. I'm already a fan of Nidhu, but today it's like I'm hearing all of this for the first time. I'm mind blown at this information and the wisdom coming forward. Amazing. Yeah, I love that. I had a question about the calls, but I'm not able to find it anymore. I don't know where it went. Tell me real quick about some of the things that you believe are going to happen through this year. Do you have predictions for the year, or predictions for people who are in this program perhaps as to what might begin to open up?
One, and very big one, because that's the gift of the year, your psychic powers are going to explode.
Okay. Okay.
Your psychic powers are your 8 clairs, and your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairsentience, your clairtangency, your clairsalience, it's going to explode. And the more you work, of course, with the superconscious, the more you're going to be able to work with them exploding. Because one is about you being opened, because that is the nature of life. It is the nature of ascension, which is taking place on earth. But the other is you knowing how to work with them, how to use these gifts, maybe even translate these gifts into a profession. And that is very possible this year. Second, your sense of integrity with yourself. And I'll say this, I know I said it earlier, I'll just say it again. So integrity is the opposite of fragmentation. Integrity is when everything is integrated. That when you think something, you're also feeling it, and you're also acting on it. There's no hypocrisy, and there is no fragmentation. And integrity is authenticity. Your connection with you, which you may not be seeking fully right now, because all of us are interested in the external connection, right? The connection with my mother, father, lover, companion, boss, spouse, friend, pet, money. But ultimately, what you're really seeking is this connection with you. And that will also increase as your integrity increases. The third thing that is definitely going to start showing up for you is an ability to speak up more authentically. Speaking up authentically, and especially for women, Darius, culturally, we've been trained to be nice. We've been trained to be people pleasers. We've been trained to let others get away with however they treat us. And this speaking up, which is such an important part with money, as well as with attracting healthy partnerships, this speaking up is also going to happen this year, because spirituality means authenticity, honesty, your truth, the ability to speak your truth without hurting anyone. I was suppressed. I was suppressing. Now I don't. Now I'm not. Where you will speak your truth, and you will speak it in win-win ways. Because in the understanding of how the universe works, the sense of highest good of all is always taking place. But we don't always work like that. And because Neptune, he is the ocean. He is the water of consciousness. Consciousness, awareness, healthy boundaries, speaking up, authenticity, integrity. All of these, by the way, are also part of your money magnetism. We don't look at it like that, but it is, because when you have more integrity and authenticity, you always feel stronger and more confident. Both are very attractive to big monies, because you need confidence to handle and feel safe with big monies. So money, which is always a byproduct and will stay a byproduct of the work that you do, as you make more space, more opportunities and monies will flow in. And as you work on your own sense of connection with yourself, which is also the same as your connection with the universe, which, by the way, only takes place through the ExaFlop's brain, because a person in coma cannot do this work even though they are alive. You need your brain to do this, and 2023 is the year for your crown chakra and your brain.
I love it. I love it. Well, 2023, many cosmic portals that could accelerate us into our best life at lightning speed, or certainly could create more struggle with that child brain and that regression backward, which we're not going to do here. We're going to choose to heal, shift, and receive with the ExaBrain and these 5D decrees. So I love it. I'm sold. I'm blown away. I'm going to jump on some of these calls too, because it looks like this retrograde is probably going to affect a lot of things. I mean, if you've been looking at the world, there's been accidents. It was literally in the U.S., another train literally just dumped 14 tons of 14 tons of toxic waste into the Ohio River like today. I mean, what in the world, right? We're regressing back to not even clean drinking water. The world is going through this to wake up. But here's the thing, right? I don't want to go through this myself. I have had the suffering grid through many lifetimes. I am going to ascend to a higher path, and whatever it is, I could name thousands of things happening. Do not want to relive these things, move through these things of old lifetimes. You probably don't want to either. We're going to choose the highest path. And Nidhu, I appreciate you sharing this today and helping us to accelerate, because it is a great bit of information and a great way to accelerate out of these struggles. So I really want to thank you. Check it out at YouWealthRevolution.com/Nidhu25. Nidhu25.
And Darius,
yeah,
for the fast acting bonus, which is if you pick this up, our work will actually begin next week itself. From 5th. So if you pick this up right now, you have got 5 more alchemy, 5 more decrees, and 2 more calls. You see, along with the cosmic portals opening up, there is also the celestial calendar of moon phases, and all our calls are aligned to the moon phase. So when we have our full moon next week on 5th, and full moon money messages are, we do a very fun way to get money messages. And these money messages will tell you how the next 3 months are going to go for you. It is fun stuff to do, because in the light of the full moon, everything is revealed. There's maximum light on Earth on the night of a full moon, because the sun is always full light anyway. And on full moon, therefore, there is that much more light. So in the light of the full moon, we will get our money messages, and then we will take care of whatever blocks might be showing up in receiving those messages. And then we will do it again on another call on the 12th. So this is a fast acting bonus, which means it expires on April 5th. So if you pick it up today, you've got extra stuff, and you don't have to wait till middle of April 19th. You don't have to wait till the 19th. We will begin next week itself.
I love it. Well, we want to stay cradled in this higher ascension energy and move forward and have the best options going forward. And this is exactly what Nidhu is doing. And check it out at that page. And Nidhu, thank you for being here. I want to really thank you because, as I look at things, I do see a lot of calamity. I stand corrected. It was not 14 tons. 1,400 tons of methanol loose on the Ohio River today. So we are seeing a lot of things in the U.S. that are very cataclysmic, right? And this retrograde seems to be affecting the world. So we've got bank issues. We've got all sorts of interesting things happening. We're going to see where it goes. But the true thing I believe, and I know you believe, is we're going to choose from that highest brain, because as these realities tend to shift, change. We have one reality going one way, we have another reality or potentiality of choices. We want to be on the highest plane of choice, and that is what YouWealth Revolution has always been about, because in divine truth, there was always divine knowing, there's always divine path forward no matter what's going on, and there is always the divine potentiality for our best life. So we're going to choose that. And Nidhu, thank you for unlocking these cosmic energies and seeing the portals and helping us to rewire to align to these and maximize this year. Absolutely a key thing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Darius. Life is a gym. Healing is a muscle. The decrees are the language is life. You got to work out every day.
I love it. And I want to give you a confession. One of your beautiful calendars, my little boy Zachary reads every night before bed. So he goes through and he reads some of the statements, and he's 10 years old. So he loves your calendars, and he just uses them. And he's actually, I got to tell you, y'all, funny story. He's actually the richest kid in the class. He actually has, they have school money that they get from doing good deeds and, helping the teacher. And he's got, the most money of everybody in his class. So he's very proud. It's not real money, but he calls himself like, Elon Musk.
I love it.
And he reads your decrees. I am increasing my money now. And he went from having like $200 of these school bucks to then $400, and then recently he's just got $500. He's now up to $550, and it keeps expanding. So I'm like, thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
Yeah, I love it. So it works with a child, and it will work with you, especially as we rewire this connection in our brain. So check it out, YouWealthRevolution.com/Nidhu25. Much love, everyone. Thank you, Nidhu, for being here. Amazing. And she's a gift. It's probably like 3 a.m. over there. So she has truly given her heart and her soul, and we love her. And thank you, everybody, for being here. I see the world kind of as a reflection of what we talk about here today. And it seems that we have choices, we have potentialities, and our path and maybe even our survival is going to rest on choosing the path closest to our ascended higher self, our highest path, right? And when we choose that, I know we are going to find the paradise in the world, no matter what is going on. So will this next year be a place of paradise or a place of pain for you or for me or for the people we love? That choice, thank the source God creator, is still in our hands. And so choose wisely. And if you want some help making those choices or supercharging it, check out what Nidhu is doing on the page below. Much love. We'll see you on the next YouWealth session.